everybody, it's Katie, the Celestial Homebody. I hope you are all having a wonderful Monday, and if you're not, hopefully a little crochet will cheer you right up. This is not going to be a super long video today, because it is very, very late Sunday night, actually very, very early in the morning, Monday morning, the day that you're seeing this. It is about 2 o'clock in the morning, and I have been procrastinating sitting down and filming this video all day. So it's time that I'm here and I'm doing it so that I can go edit it, take off all my clown makeup, take a shower, and go to bed because I am exhausted. But today I have some updates about the she shed. But first, let me let you know that the shirt that I'm wearing today, Trick or Treat, Give Me Yarn, this is one of my art designs. It's a little golden retriever doggy who is going trick-or-treating. This design on my website is only going to be up until the end of October, so we're almost halfway through at this point. So if you want a Halloween festive crocheter slash knitter shirt, then I recommend getting it soon so that you can wear it for Halloween time. The link will be in the description box. So I have some things to show you guys today that I crocheted. I'm sorry, I'm itching my foot. I have quite a few things to show you guys that I crocheted this week. One of them is stunning. Stay tuned for it until the very end. But what a lot of you guys are probably here for is a she shed update. So if you're out of the loop, I work from home as a full-time crochet artist, YouTuber. I run my own business. I do digital art, painting, yada, yada, yada. And for the past couple of years, I have been working out of the current room that I'm sitting in, which is a small little, maybe 9-foot by 12-foot room. And a few months ago, back in June, I came to the realization that I need more space. I am running out of space in this office, not only for storage, because I have a lot of yarn, if you didn't know, but also working room. I'm doing a lot of like safety eye manufacturing now, making my stickers. When I want to paint, I can't do it in this office because there's not enough room for me to stand with my easel open. So in addition to the room issue, I also was having, or am having still, the trouble of separating my work life from my home life slash mom life. If you did not know, I have a 1-year-old daughter, and so it has been an issue the past couple of months as my business has really taken off, of me being like, okay, I'm gonna go upstairs and go to bed, and our bedroom's literally 2 doors down the hallway, and then my husband Ryan texting me being like, I thought you were coming to bed, and it's me 3 hours later here in my office working on something, because I was like, oh, I'm just gonna go in my office and do this one quick little thing before bed, and then 3 hours later, there I am still. So that's an issue. Also, when I am up here working during my work time, responding to emails and things like that, I hear my baby like downstairs crying or laughing or whatever, and then I have FOMO and I want to go see what's up and be part of the action, and then I do that. And so I'm just having a hard time separating that work and life balance thing and managing that. So a few months ago, I decided that we were going to look into getting an external she shed for our property that will sit behind our house, and it would be a 12 by 20 foot shed that is completely finished. So it will have insulation, electrical, we'll do flooring in it. It'll have like a finished ceiling, obviously with the electrical lights and outlets, so that I'll be able to use it all year round. And then that will be my external work from home space that's not actually in the house, but still at home. So it would be ideal, and that would be more than enough space for all of my craft stuff storage and working space. So we started looking into the she shed. I'll make this quick. I feel like I've already been talking for too long. You guys are probably filled in already, but the TLDR of it is that we were not able, through city zoning where we live, we were not able to put this external shed on a non-permanent foundation on our property because we already have one accessory structure, which is our detached garage. And within city limits, the zoning committee does not allow more than one without special permission. So way back in July, I had to submit an application to the city to ask for permission if we could put this shed on our property. And then we had to wait until October, which is what I'm about to tell you about, the city zoning council meeting, for them to vote on whether or not we were able to put the shed on our property. So that just recently happened, and I know that a lot of you guys are very eager to hear about how that went and if they did approve it or not. So, what happened was, like I mentioned, I submitted the application. I had to submit a check, and it was an almost $400 check, which we felt was outrageous, but I guess that money, that fee, pays for the city council, like, actual meeting, but then also they send out notarized letters to all of our neighbors that live within 100 feet of us, letting them know that this is what we want to do with, putting the shed in our yard. And then if our neighbors had any objections, then they would be able to object to it, and then our application would be denied. I don't know why it works like that. I don't feel like that's really fair, if you ask me, considering like it's our own property. Like, why do our neighbors have a say? We don't live in an HOA or anything like that, but that's just the rules of the game. And our neighborhood has been around for like 200 years. So that's just how it is. So the city council zoning committee, whatever it's called, meeting finally happened this past week, and we got the answer as to whether or not we could put the shed on our property. And how it went was, I showed up very early, way too early. So fortunately, I brought my whips bag with some crochet stuff, and I sat there and crocheted while I was waiting for it to start. And I also brought a book too and read for a little bit. I was there like 3 hours early, you guys, but it said on the application form to arrive early in case they start the meeting early. They didn't start the meeting early. I was just there for 3 hours sitting in the lobby. But anyway, so the meeting finally was about to start. So I went into this room, and it was like very swanky in there. Like, it looked like the set of a political talk show. I'll put a picture in here of it. But I saw the podium there, and then it dawned on me like, oh, am I going to have to talk? Because I didn't prepare anything, and I had literally just thrown on a dress. I didn't do my hair or makeup or anything. I literally looked like a trash panda, and I was like, oh my gosh, wait a second, I might need to talk. Sure enough, before the official meeting started, the zoning committee commissioner, I think her official title, came up to me and was like, okay, this is how things are gonna go. I'm gonna stand up and talk. They're gonna start the meeting, and then they'll go over your paperwork. They'll call you up to answer some questions and let them know about what you're doing, and then you'll leave today with an answer. And I was like, oh gosh, I was not prepared to talk. And it was just so intimidating looking at that podium, sitting there in front of like this big room. And there was like nobody in the audience. There was one guy who was sitting behind me. That was it. And so anyway, so the meeting started. It went exactly as she had prepared me for. And they said, okay, we don't have anything to talk about from previous week. So all we're discussing today is the case for Catherine and Ryan at our address. And they said, are you Catherine? And I said, yes. And they had me step up to the podium, and they just asked me a couple of questions, like clarifying questions, because they all had that paperwork that I had submitted, along with a rendering of what the shed, like where the shed would go in like relativity to our house and to our garage and our neighbors. And we live on a corner lot, so like the fence between us and our neighbors and all of that stuff. And I actually had made that up on The Sims 4 because that was like all I could think of using. So I made that up on The Sims 4, printed that out, and submitted it. So they were looking over that paperwork. And so they asked me things like, are we hiring a professional to do the electrical work? And I said, yes, we are. They let me know that it's going to need to be permitted. And I said, like, I'm aware, and our contracted electrician is going to be the one to handle getting the permits from you guys. They asked me if it was going to have plumbing, and I said no. What else did they ask me? Oh, they asked me if the fence between us and the neighbors was a short picket fence, because that was what I had in this rendering, because that was all that I had access to in The Sims 4, because I didn't have any of the expansion packs downloaded. So I was like, no, it's actually like a 6-foot tall solid white vinyl fence. And they kind of chuckled. I was like, that's all that I could get in the render. And they kind of chuckled. They're like, this is good. Like, they complimented it, which was nice. So anyway, so they asked me a bunch of questions, and then they asked if anybody in the audience had any objections to us putting this shed down. And the one other guy who was in the audience area that was sitting behind me moved in his chair at that moment. He moved and it like squeaked, and I hear him like over my shoulder, and I'm like, oh, here it is. This must be our neighbor that I've like never met before, because he lives 100 yards away, about to object, and then I'm not going to get my shed. And he moved at that exact moment and then didn't say anything. And I was like, okay, wait, this is going well. And then the commissioner council asked the actual commissioner, did they have any phone calls from our neighbors with objections? And then the commissioner opens her mouth, and I'm like, here we go. This is it. She says, we did have a neighbor call. And I was like, well, there goes all my dreams of the shed. And then she says they had some questions about the letter that was sent to them, and I answered them, and they had no reservations about it. And I was like, okay, wait. It was a roller coaster of emotions, and all of this happened. The entire zoning meeting happened within a span of like 6 minutes, you guys. But I went through all of the emotions in those 6 minutes. Fear, anxiety, joy, excitement, fear. Did I already say fear? I think so. You get what I mean? So then they all kind of looked at each other, and then they said, the main guy was like, okay, petition to, or I move to approve this variance. And they all said aye. And then they did like a roll call thing. And then he was like, okay, you're good to go. And then the meeting was adjourned, and I left like a giddy schoolgirl. So that was a very long-winded story of like, do I have lipstick on my teeth? Gosh, this happens every single time I wear my red lipstick. Sorry about that. So that was a very long-winded way of telling you that we got approved for the office shed. The deposit is already in. It is currently being manufactured, but the production time is 9 to 10 weeks, and that also puts us in Thanksgiving week, in which they will be off. The shed is being Amish made here in Indiana, about an hour away from us, through a company called Raber Sheds. They've been a pleasure to work with. I can't speak to the quality of the sheds yet, obviously, since we have not gotten our shed. But yeah, everything is moving. It's in motion. So I am so hyped for the shed series that we're going to be doing here on the channel. I think it's going to be 4 parts. So part 1 is going to be a vlog that I started filming way back in June about the process, the conception of the shed, of like the idea, the planning of it, the filling out the application, the city zoning meeting, all of that stuff, placing the order for it, laying out doors and windows, all of that stuff is going to be in that first vlog. And then the second vlog is going to be a shopping vlog for the fun stuff. So like the wallpaper and the flooring and the storage stuff and all of the furniture. That's going to be a ton of fun. That's going to be my favorite part. Part 3 is going to be actually like decorating it and putting everything in it, moving everything out of this office into the new shed, obviously once it's on property. And then part 4 of the office shed series is going to be a full craft room studio shed tour. So this whole series is not going to be out until into next year, since we're not even going to be getting the shed until early December. And if you did not know, I live in Indiana and it gets quite cold. This darn lipstick gets quite cold here in the winter in Indiana. So I don't know how much we're actually going to be able to do right after it's delivered, because we're going to need to put in flooring and wallpaper and paint before I want to move any of the furniture in, because obviously that's going to be a nightmare if there's a bunch of stuff in there and I'm trying to maneuver all of those basics. I have a portable AC and portable heat pump unit, but we can't plug those in until we have electrical in. So it's just, there's a lot of moving parts. I have to schedule with the electrician as to when they are available to come and actually hook the shed up. Hopefully it would be the same day that it's delivered, but I don't know how that's going to work logistically. So, yeah, I hope that you guys are excited as I am. Maybe we should have like a shed warming party. We still have to like really lock down a name for it. You guys have had some great suggestions. I'm leaning toward, we're just going to call it the Celestial Studio. I think that it's just all encompassing. There's a lot that can happen in there: filming, editing, crafting, crocheting, all of that stuff. So I feel like the Celestial Studio is just the most all-encompassing. So if you ever hear me refer to the Celestial Studio, I'm referring to the shed that is going to be my new office. So yeah, all right, I've done a lot of yapping. Oh my gosh, I can't with this lipstick. I gotta stop wearing this lipstick when I film. Let me show you what I crocheted this week, because I know that you guys are probably sick of me yapping at this moment in time. Okay, so the first thing that I made this week is actually some things that I made while I was sitting there. Sorry, I'm trying to grab them here. While I was sitting there waiting for the meeting to start at City Hall Council. So I made a couple of ancient peas. Well, actually, this is just a platypus. And now it's Perry the platypus. So oh my gosh, I dropped one. Okay, I made 5 of these, as well as 5 little hats. I'm not going to show you all of them because they all look the same, or they're supposed to look the same. But these are what my platypi look like. Now, I have done these in the past. Look at them. I got a whole deck of them here. Come here, little guy. There we go. My whole deck of Perrys. I feel like I'm playing a card game. I'll see you 1 orange bill and raise you 1 beady eye. Look at their little beady eyes. So these guys I have made in the past, and I sold out of these at Fall Festival, which was my last market, if you saw that market vlog. In fact, not only did I sell out, but I actually had 2 customers come to me asking me if I had more, because they had seen them earlier in the day, and I was all out. So I brought 6 with me, sold all of them, plus if I had 2 more, then I probably would have sold 2 more as well. So I definitely needed to make some more of these. These are pretty quick to do. This is actually a free pattern on Ribbler, and I do some things different to the pattern. Actually, to be honest with you guys, the only thing that I follow in the pattern is the shape. And this is a very basic shape. If you have been crocheting for any amount of time, then you will probably be able to just freehand this shape. It's literally 1 round of increase, 1 round of increase, single crochet, and then just a bunch of rounds until the decreases. That's about it. And then you also do the color changes for the feet, about there. So in the pattern on Ribbler, it is no-sew. So it has you make the bill. I always want to say a beak. It's not a beak. I said it correctly this time. You make the bill, you make the tail. I'm sorry, you make the bill, you start crocheting, and then what happens is that the bill you change colors into the head, so then it looks like a very erect nipple is what it looks like. And then the same thing for the tail, where at the end of it, you just color change to the orange, and then you like decrease and then build the tail out that way. The first couple of times I did it when I was making these, I did do it the way that the pattern was written, and I really did not care for the way that they looked. So I just said, I'm going to go through the hassle of pre-making all of the bills. I'm just a bill. Yes, I'm only a bill, and I'm sitting here on Capitol Hill. And all of the tails, and then I crochet them in. So what I do is when I get to the single crochet increase round, I crochet the bill into it. And then at the end, as I'm doing the single crochet decreases, I crochet the tail into it. So that is what I do. I don't think it really takes any more time. Oh my gosh. I'm so sorry. I just keep rubbing my teeth, you guys. I don't really think that it takes any more time, but they look a lot better in my opinion. They don't really take much yarn at all. For the orange, I use Elise Voluto, and then for the body, I use Premier Basic Chenille Brights Caribbean, and it is the perfect Perry color. Now, Avery Crafts a Lot on Etsy also has a platypus pattern that is freaking adorable. I highly recommend. I have done her patterns in the past. I don't know why, I was just in the mood to make like these easy like pill shaped Perrys. Actually I do know why. It's because I brought the yarn with me, and I was sitting there at the in like the waiting area for the meeting to start, and I just wanted something more mindless because, like I said, these are very easy. The Avery Crafts a Lot pattern is a little bit more involved with the increases and decreases. It's a little bit harder to memorize versus just the pill shape, so I didn't want to have like my phone on looking at the pattern. You know how it is. So I went the easy route, and I was able to get 5 done as I was sitting there waiting. And then the little hats I used, I want to say this color is, oh gosh, it's the Chenille Basics Brights. What color is this? Caramel. It's caramel. I just free-handed the little hats, and I like to have them separate because the amount of people that come into the booth and go, it's a platypus, and then put the hat on, and then they go, Perry the platypus, and it just makes them giggle, is way too many. So instead of sewing them on, I just put the little Perrys in the bin and then put the hats in, and they can pick a Perry and pick a hat. Or should I say just they pick a platypus. It's not a Perry. Picking up what I'm putting down. Okay, so 5, Perry the platypi. So the next 2 things that I made are for my good friends. Ryan and I have some good friends named Melissa and Josh, and they are super nerds like we are. Love Harry Potter and love Studio Ghibli. So I made some gifts for them. Shout out, by the way, guys, if you're watching. So for Melissa, she is a major Potterhead. She's a Gryffindor. And I was thinking, well, what patterns do I have that I could make for her? I was thinking like I could go like a doll, you know, like Merida back there, like a Harry Potter doll. But then I was like, no, I want something just kind of like simple and cute and sweet. So I have this pattern by Shield Maiden Crochet. If you've never used a Shield Maiden pattern before, fantastic patterns, and they're cheaper than dirt. They are, I think, like less than $1 for her patterns, and they're really simple to follow. They're quick. This is one of hers. So this is a sweet little owl who get it? I'm cracking myself up. Sweet little owl who is not meant to be any particular character, but for a Harry Potter fan, you know who this is. It's not Hedwig because that's trademarked, so let's call him This is Hair Toupee, not Hedwig, Hair Toupee, the owl. He attends Pig Pimples, the school, with his buddy Larry Porter. Now, you know, we're not using the trademark copyrighted names around here. So this is a very, very quick pattern to do. I've made one of these before and sold him at Comic-Con, and I wish that they did turn out a little bit bigger. And to be honest with you guys, I add a few rounds to the body. I think I added 2 or 3 rounds, and this guy is already very stubby, very, very short, very, very stubby. Imagine it with 2 or 3 rounds less, how short it would be. Actually, you know what? The shape of this, if you put weighted stuff in here, like little lead balls or something, this would be a great little doorstop, wouldn't it? Because of the flat bottom and like the shape, that would be a great doorstop. I should have made it a doorstop. I don't know if Melissa could use a doorstop, but for right now, it's just a squishy, cuddly little guy. But anyways, I did add a few rounds to the body so it wasn't so short and squatty, and it was a little bit more of substantial of a size. To be honest with you, I feel like the embroidery on it takes longer than crocheting the actual owl. For the eyes, I did paint these. They are gold sparkles, 20 millimeter. The pattern calls for 18 millimeter, but I thought that those looked a little bit too small because owls have big eyes. So I went with the 20s, and I could have just used a gold a gold glitter disc in the eye, but I could not find my glitter disc. So I just used UV epoxy and painted them with the glitter, or glittered them. I didn't really paint them. You know what I mean? And then the only thing that you have to sew on these is the wings, and then of course all of the embroidery. This one's got a little bit of black peeking through the back, but that's okay. So Shield Made in Crochet, highly, highly recommend her patterns. She's got a lot of Harry Potter stuff if you are a Potterhead and a crocheter. She has like the little, what are the little blue guys from Prisoner of Azkaban? Cornish pixies? Is that what it is? It's been a hot minute since I've watched Prisoner of Azkaban, and I think that's the movie that they're from. Is it the 3rd one? I need a Harry Potter marathon. It is fall, so it is time for the Potter. But anyways, here is Hedwig for Melissa. Her husband, Josh, is into Studio Ghibli, specifically Spirited Away. And have I ever told you guys how terrified of that movie I was as a kid? I was maybe 7 years old, and I went over to a neighbor's house, and she was watching it. I remember she had a TV in her room, which was a big deal because I was not allowed to have a TV in my room. But it was like the early 2000s. Went over to her house. She had Spirited Away on in her room, and we were just like playing with Barbies or whatever we were doing. But it was on in the background, and I wasn't paying attention to the movie, but I just vividly remember the part where the people turn into pigs, and it terrified my 7-year-old little brain, and I literally had nightmares about it for weeks, and I did not watch that movie again until I was 29 years old. Yes, I did not rewatch it until just last year because I was still scared of it, from it imprinting on me as a wee young child. Poor little Katie just saw these people turning into pigs and thought. So anyways, Spirited Away has always kind of terrified me just a little bit, although since rewatching it, it is a fantastic movie, and I really want to make a Haku, which I'll talk about more in just a little bit after showing you another thing that I made this week. So that was a lot of information for you. All to say that I made him a no-face. Which, if you do not know, is a character from Spirited Away. This guy scared me too as a child. I mean, he's pretty creepy. Everybody in that movie is pretty creepy as a young kid. As an adult, they are very cool. And as an artist, I appreciate the art style of Ghibli movies so much. They are stunning, such a vibe. I feel like now as an adult, I'm never not in a mood for a Studio Ghibli movie. My favorite is Ponyo, by the way. Ponyo, 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 fishy in the sea. I know the entire song. Don't threaten me with a good time. I will sing it. But anyway, so I made a no face. Now I freehanded this guy and I actually wrote up a pattern. So that'll be available on my website. If you're interested in making yourself one of these no faces, you can purchase the pattern on my website. I will link it for you in the description box along with all of the other patterns that I talk about in today's video, like always. So no face here. He actually turned out a lot bigger than I was anticipating because I was going to make him the same size as Hedwig, but as you can see, he is much bigger. Actually, you know what's kind of funny is Josh is very tall and Melissa's very small. So this is kind of like them IRL. That wasn't intentional. But I made this guy before I made the Hedwig. I'm sorry, the hair toupee. And I remembered him being bigger the last time I made him. So that is why no face here is so large. Really easy pattern to follow. And I did, when I was doing the embroidery, I feel like I did make this eye a little bit slanted down, but you know, I mean, if you're a crocheter, you know, it's hard to embroider on the round like this because the stitches slant as you're working in the round, right? So it's very difficult to get eyes and embroidery, or if you're just using like the little safety eyes like these, very difficult to get them even. So I did what I can. He looks kind of like he had a stroke, but hopefully it's fine. For the purple on him, I use, this is such a beautiful color purple. This is the new Parfait Plush. I don't remember what the color name is, but I think it's Iris. I'm 99.9% sure the color name is Iris, and it's really, really pretty. By the way, there's a link in the description box for my Premier affiliate link. If you ever want to get yarn through them, feel free to use that link. I would appreciate it. For the black, I used Elise Voluto with a 6.5 millimeter hook, and it came out a good size. I don't feel like there's that many stitches in this for how big it is. And then for the white, I used a Burnout Baby Blanket. If I were to take this to a market or to a convention, I would probably put at least a $50 price on it, to be honest with you, because of how big it is. I feel like it's almost coming off smaller in camera, maybe? I don't know. It's bigger than my head, and I've got a big head, so yeah, I'm very proud of it. It is so soft and so snuggable. Actually, you know what? This one would also make a really good doorstop, or like a weighted something or another. It's kind of like the shape of a Weebles Wobble, you know, but they don't fall down. You could probably put something in there to make it like a Weebles Wobble. It's been a long time since I've thought about those. So anyway, so that is a no face. Although the pattern, I named it Faceless, because, you know, again. Okay, so the next thing that I have to show you is my favorite of the week. Actually, wait, before I show you this crochet item, I want to show you a new sticker design that I just finished this week too. So if you know me, you'll know that I am low-key, high-key addicted to Dunkin' Donuts iced coffee. And I also have a guilty pleasure for reading R-rated books. Ryan does too, my husband Ryan. He loves smut. In fact, there was a joke for a long time that we should name the shed office the Smut Hut. So in honor of those two loves of mine, and I know that some of you guys share those two loves, I made this sticker that says, I like my coffee icy and my books spicy. Hang on, it's focusing on me. There we go. I like my coffee icy and my book spicy. And it has an iced coffee and a little book with some little fireworks shooting out of it. And so I drew this week and made up a bunch of these stickers, and I laminated them with this Actually, it's a little better with the light. Hang on. Whoa. Was there a ghost in here? Nope. Just pasty ass me. I laminated it with this star lamination. It's really pretty in person. Under the light, it's almost like a little too bright. But this is a good size sticker. So Ryan has already commandeered one. He's like, oh, I'm taking one of those. And he put it on his water bottle for work so that all of his coworkers know what he's doing on his break when he's reading his Kindle. So if you want to pick up one of my new stickers, they're available on my Etsy shop as well as my website. So yeah, I'm very proud of this one. I'm probably going to put one on my Tumblr too. Okay, now let me show you this last crochet item that I did. So this took a long time. I was watching that new series on Netflix called Monster. It is the story of the serial killer Edward Gein, and I love true crime. I love smut and true crime, so it says a lot about me. But I was watching that series, and there were 8 episodes, and all of them were over an hour long. And it took me almost the entire series to finish this one item. So this is going to be a one-of-a-kind thing. I will never be making this again. Well, let me rephrase. I will be making this pattern again, not with this amount of detail. So let me just show you what it is. So with Halloween coming up, as well as the Day of the Dead, which is also known as Dia de los Muertos. Am I saying that right? I don't know. I'm really white. Dia de los Muertos, I think is how you pronounce it, but is the Mexican holiday of remembrance, happens around Halloween time every year, and it is the celebration of those who have passed on. If you've ever seen the movie Coco from Disney and Pixar, it's actually my second favorite Pixar movie, first being Ratatouille, of course, but that movie is about the Day of the Dead. So picture the movie Coco. That is what I wanted to put into this dragon, which is what I made. So without further ado, here is my Day of the Dead dragon. Isn't she cute? It, for the size, I do not feel like it should have taken as long as it did, but as you can tell, the amount of detail that I put into it is a lot. Each one of the flowers on her head took about an hour alone. I custom made eyes for her, so these are 35 millimeter white pupil eyes, which are not found a lot. I had to special order them from AliExpress. But I did this hot pink to orange gradient. And then on top of the eye, I did these little flowers, and the eyes alone took about 50 minutes to an hour because I was so like meticulous about getting the top of these covered with epoxy with minimal bubbles. And I think that I did a pretty good job, although I will say in person, with the nature of the white pupils, it almost like you can see the shadows of like the peaks and valleys of the epoxy. It feels fairly smooth to the touch, but it almost makes it look underneath there with the shadows like it's water. Do you kind of see what I mean? Like on the white pupil, it looks like water reflecting, and that is from the epoxy that is resting on top of the eye that I had to put over the eye to secure those little flowers in. And honestly, I don't feel like it was really necessary for me to do that because of everything else that's happening on the face. They kind of just blend in, plus the flowers kind of block them, like the flowers in the flower crown. But I did love the pink and the orange so much, the combo, that I did do another set of them. So these are the 35 millimeter white pupils. I only did one set of these, but I did post these on my website as well if you want to grab these for a plushie of yours. I just love the pink and orange combo. I named them Day of the Dead eyes, but honestly, these could pass as like summery. I was gonna say watermelon sugar, but they're not really watermelon-y. What are these reminding me of? I don't know. But they're pink and orange, and they look very summery too. So I've got one set of those if you want to snag them. But I did not do the flowers on top of those because of the amount of time that it took, and I wasn't super happy with the finish and like the water reflection lookingness of them. So anywho, I made the eyes. I hand cut these flowers. Now this felt here, not felt, this is foam. I actually picked this up at Joann's months ago, obviously, because they've been out of business, rest in peace, for months. But if you happen to watch the shopping vlog, it was the very last time that I went to Joann's for a shopping vlog. I picked up this metallic blue, and I also got a pink metallic sheet of foam. And I remember saying in that vlog, I don't know what I'm going to use this for, but it's really pretty, and it was literally cost like a cent per sheet. So I was like, I will find a use for it. Here we are, all of these months later, I finally found a use for it on this Day of the Dead dragon. Now, I did originally crochet with this teal color, which I'll talk about the teal color in a second here, but I did crochet little flowers to go around his eyes, and I did not like the way that it looked because I don't know. I sewed it on. I didn't fasten it off, and I'm glad that I didn't because that would have been a nightmare to cut it off after I had sewed it on. But it almost like puffed out too much, and it just did not look right to me. So I frogged it out, and I opted just to go with the felt instead. Now, I could have used my Cricut to cut these, but to be honest with you, I couldn't be bothered. Nothing shorts my patience more than working with a printer, a sewing machine, and the Cricut. So I just opted to hand cut them. Are they perfectly even and equal? No, but I personally kind of like that look because the whole thing about the sugar skulls for like the Day of the Dead, like the traditional, I mean, it looks like this. It's a sugar skull. If you don't know what it is, you can look up a picture of it, but it's like hand painted. So it's okay to me that they're not perfectly even. Same with all of the markings. I embroidered all of these markings here, and no, it's not completely even side to side. But it's okay because it's meant to look hand painted on. I did do a little candy skull mouth. For the accent colors on this, I use, this is Parfait Chunky Pom Pom, and I want to say this color is like Glow something, Glow Party, I don't know, but it's the black color with all of these neon speckles in it. So I use this for all of the accents, like in the ears, the mouth, the wings, and this little tail bit here because of the colors in it. What inspired this, I didn't even tell you, what inspired me doing this was months ago when I was prepping for the Renaissance Festival. I was making my own pattern of my little Nyx the Dragons. They're like super quick little like 30-minute dragon makes. Made a bunch of those, and I used this exact yarn to make one, and I called it the Day of the Dead Little Dragon, and you guys loved it. I gave it white pupil eyes, and it sold the first debut. And so I was like, I kind of want to do something like that again, especially with this time of year, with that holiday coming up along with Halloween, but just doing it on a much grander scale. And honestly, if I had had more of this yarn, I would have done the entire body in the black with the pom-pom, because how fun is that stuff? Unfortunately, I only had a partial skein, and I used up every little bit of it just doing these little accents. So these two colors are the Premier Basic Chenille Brights. And then this blue color is the new Parfait Plush. And actually, you can't even really see, but on the inside of this flower, it is pink in the center and then purple and then blue on the outside. So in traditional sugar skull fashion, they'll have crowns of marigolds. And instead of doing just plain marigold gold or yellow, I wanted to bring in some extra color. So that's why I did a hot pink, neon orange, and then the teal. And then I also brought in those colors with purple in the back spikes. And then for the feet, I did the pink. So that's why there's no pink spikes, because I did the pink on the feet instead. Now, I misread the pattern and I accidentally went a round too high with the pink in the arms. So it almost kind of looks like she has hooves, but it's okay. Look at how cute these paw pads are, by the way, you guys. They actually have like shape. They're like toe beans on this dragon. This is a Snuggle Beans crochet pattern, and I love Snuggle Beans crochet patterns. Shannon is a very, very talented pattern designer, and she like cranks those puppies out. She's always coming out with new stuff. So this is, maybe it was Eden the dragon, Ivy the dragon, something like that. I'll link it for you below. But this is kind of a play on her splooting critters. So if you've been around the crochet community, then you've probably heard about the splooting critters by Snuggle Beans Crochet, where they can sit up or they can lay down, and then their arms can either go out to the side like that, or their arms can go right underneath, and then their heads are floppy, so that way they can sit up or lay down. This is kind of a play on that. It's not completely one of the splooting characters because the back and the legs are different. But the way that the arms are crocheted in and then the way that the head is done is the same. So I really like how floppy it is. This thing is very cuddly. Like, honestly, this is as big as a child. This is longer than my 1-year-old baby with the tail. And I shorted some rounds in the tail. I did not do all of the rounds that it said to. I thought that it was plenty long enough. The only thing that I did differently in this pattern was like I said, shorted the rounds in the tail. And then I did the spikes differently than what she said to do. And I also didn't go all the way down the tail. This is fresh off the hook. I literally just finished this. This is why I'm recording this video so late at night. What else about this? I think that's about it. Oh, the white is burnout baby blanket. It's the same yarn that I used for the owl. I just freehanded it. I did look up a tutorial of how to crochet marigolds on YouTube. It was literally the first video that came up. So if you want to know how to make these, you can feel free to search it up on YouTube. That's what I did. And then I just freehanded all of the embroidery and everything. I will say that I don't know if I care for how the wings look. The way that they're done is really clever, as with all of her patterns, and it could have been my yarn choice, because if you've never worked with Parfait Chunky by Premier before, it is a very flaccid yarn. It has like no structure to it. So I think that is what happened here. Bernat does have structure, but because this black, which is Parfait Chunky, has no structure to it, these just kind of look like wimpy and like, I don't know, flaccid. Like they're just, you know, I feel like if I had used some stiffer yarn, they would have had more structure and looked a little bit better, but it's okay. It is what it is. It kind of looks like, you know, as she's laying here, they're just kind of folded back over her back, which is really pretty. So this beautiful girl is going up on my website as well if you would like to adopt her. And if not, nobody wants to buy her, that's okay. She'll just come to my next market with me. And this is definitely going to be one of those show pieces, I think, that bring people in. Oh, I did hot glue this stuff on here though. So if you are interested in getting this, just know that it's hot glued. So maybe don't give it to his young child. Oh, I didn't even mention, of course I bedazzled it. If you did not know, I like to bedazzle things. So I just used these rhinestones that I got from Walmart and just hot glued them around the eyes for a little sparkle sparkle. So there she is. I will be making more of these dragons. It did take a long time, but like I said, it was because of the detail that I put into it. The pattern itself is maybe a 2 to 3 hour make, if I had to guess. Maybe closer to the 2 hour side, but this girl took me like 7 or 8 hours. So she was definitely a labor of love, but isn't she so pretty? So that is all that I have to tell you guys about today. So thank you all so much for watching. Before I say goodbye, I of course need to give a huge shout out to the members of the Cosmic Couch Club. You guys keep this little galaxy spinning. If you would like to join the coziest couch in the cosmos, the couch is always open. And when I get the Celestial Studio, we will actually have a legitimate IRL cosmic couch. So I'm very excited for that. Maybe one day we can do like a podcast or something and have people come and actually sit on the cosmic couch and chat. That would be a ton of fun. All right, I'm going to say goodnight. I have got to go shower and go to bed because I'm like, I'm so tired. All right, everybody, have a great rest of your week, and I hope to see you on the next one. Bye-bye.